Welcome. Now we're joined by Mr. S. Mahalingam. He's the Executive Director and Chief Financial Officer for Tata Consulting Services. For those of you that are within our target audience, young, 18 to 32, a quick introduction. Tata Consulting Services is a global, true multinational, growing out of India. They have about 140,000 employees spread across the world in 42 different countries, and they make about $6 billion US dollars a year. Welcome, Mr. Mahalingam. If you could tell us a little bit about how business is growing in this kind of downward economy for a whole lot of countries, hopefully not so for India. Tell us how TCS is doing, how are you diversifying risk?
The world market is declining at this time because when you go to the United States or Europe, continental Europe or UK, which are the main markets for our services, you find that many of the companies are going through their own recessionary trends. You find that it's not just the banks or insurance, but also the manufacturing companies, especially those relating to auto and so on. And so the question that we have to ask ourselves at this stage is how do we make our services far more valuable to the customer? That is through efficiency, through doing far more than what we would do earlier and so on. And we are essentially deepening our relationship, as we call it, with the customers. And while we would continue to increase the volume of work, even this downturn we should be able to increase the volume of work, the revenue may not grow at the same level, mainly because we would be doing the work out of India. We might be more profitable, but we certainly would not be. And therefore, what we are attacking is really in terms of ensuring that as we bounce back when the recovery takes place and so on, we are well positioned from a customer segment. We are well positioned from an industry vertical segment. We are well positioned from a services segment. And also we are diversified. See, today we are present obviously in the strong markets, but we also have a decent presence in markets like China. We have a decent presence in many other countries, including South America.
42 countries,
42
right?
countries.
Exactly, yes.
So that diversification in terms of geography itself hopefully is a strength.
In terms of where your revenues come from, what proportion of that comes from North America versus rest of the world?
See, North America makes up just a little over 50%.
Okay.
About 52% comes out of North America. We do something close to about 17% in the UK. So these have been the traditional markets. And then the other countries.
If you could also tell us about functionally, what's your core competence? I know that the US is going through a crisis, has been going through a crisis. Hopefully they have hit the bottom, do you think?
Well, I mean, that's what, there are people who frighten us saying that it is now going to be a W-shaped recovery, so I think we have exhausted all the letters in the thing. It used to be an L-shaped recovery, then U-shaped recovery, V-shaped recovery, now it is W-shaped. If you take the initial issues which came from the banking and financial sectors and insurance, that recovery seems to have been taking place.
Mr. Mahalingam, tell me also about your functional diversity. So we talked about geographical diversity. Tell me how much of your revenues, for example, comes from healthcare. I mean, that's clearly one of the key points that Barack has been talking about these days. It's something due for an overhaul. He's coming up with a plan. What kind of revenues do you get from that sector versus, let's say, us, the media industry?
These are all what we would call the new sectors emerging. The healthcare and pharma sector have been lagging in terms of using outsourcing of services. They have been fairly ahead as far as IT is concerned. But maybe it was the profitability, maybe it was cost plus kind of syndrome that they had built up or whatever it is, which essentially moved them towards. But that's the reason why we find that the pharma and healthcare are the fastest growing sectors at this moment in time. And it just doesn't work purely on the IT part of it. There is also the drug discovery, the whole area of where number crunching has to be done. And media and entertainment is another area that we have been paying more attention to of late. That's probably, we never paid attention earlier, and that's probably our mistake.
Well, thank you, Mr. Mahalingam, for joining us. I know you have a very tight time schedule over here. I really appreciate you taking time for NDTV-HINDU. Good luck at the event and safe travels.
Right, thank you.
Risk-taking is a way of life for most film stars who can never predict how their film is going to fare at the box office. Pretty much the case with investing in the markets. You can never tell who will come knocking at your doors, bulls or bears. We caught up with an actor who understands this sort of a risk and puts his money where his mouth is.
Powder nose, check. Fluff hair, check. Put on bright pink sequin scarf, check. Actor Karan goes all out before jumping into a frame. He's a stickler for perfection, practicing every move till he gets it right. And his attitude is the same when it comes to managing his money as well.
Both are tough. For dancing you need practice, for managing money you need planning. So I think both are not easy, but it's really fun. No? I think you need a good advisor, an elderly person who already managed money, either from your family or from your circle, or any good money management person should be there. No, you can take advice. You can take an advice of them. I think that will make things much more easier. We need to have a priority for this. Divide your earning, your income, invest in on a proper way, like 20% for this, 20% for this, 30% for this, something like that. So I do have an advisor, and I think I'm investing properly. I am basically a film personality, and my earnings come through movies. So my first preference is towards investment on my job, my profession. I always used to think in what way I can develop myself, investing money for developing my career. See, a lot of my thinking goes towards that. And the remaining part, of course, considerable, maybe 40 to 50%, something like that, 30% or 40% on conventional investments like land, bank investments, something like that.
That's all we have on Businessline this week, but do join me next week for more news and updates. Until then, goodbye.